I am here with your fourth chapter in physics, that is pressure in fluids and atmospheric pressure. So, first we have to know a term called thrust. What is thrust? In your previous chapter, you have studied about force. So, force when acts normally on a surface, it is called thrust. So, it is a specifically directed force which acts normally on a surface, perpendicularly on a surface, then it is called thrust. And thrust, if you consider that your body is kept at some surface, then the weight of the body on the surface is the force. Weight is the force of gravity, you have understood by now. It is the force which acts normally or perpendicularly on the surface, vertically downward. So, thrust of the body in that case will be the weight of the body. Thrust is a vector quantity and its unit is Newton, which is 10 to the power 5 dyne in CGS. MKS is kgf, CGS is gf. They are related as 1 kgf is equal to 9.8 Newton, 1 gf is equal to 980 dyne. So, all these things you have studied in your previous chapter regarding force. Now, what is pressure? Pressure is a force acting normally on a surface per unit area is called pressure, or in place of force acting normally on a surface, you can replace this statement with thrust. So, thrust per unit area is called the pressure. So, effect of thrust depends upon the area of the surface on which it acts. The effect of thrust is less in large area while it is more on a small area. So, pressure is the thrust per unit area of the surface. So, pressure is equal to thrust by area or F by A. Now, here F, don't misconsider, is as force. It is force acting normally, that is the thrust part. Pressure is a scalar quantity. Now, we have to select the unit of pressure. So, it is force thrust per unit area. So, thrust unit is Newton, area unit is meter square. So, it will be Newton per meter square. Now, Newton per meter square is called Pascal. So, 1 Pascal is equal to 1 Newton by 1 meter square. So, we write 1 PA, which is the abbreviated form, 1 PA Pascal is equal to 1 Newton. It is a symbol, unit symbol, Pascal symbol is PA, 1 Newton per meter square. So, how we define 1 Pascal? 1 Pascal is the pressure exerted by a thrust of 1 Newton acting on an area of 1 meter square. I have said thrust, so I am not saying force acting normally. Otherwise, you can say that as it is given in the book, 1 Pascal is the pressure exerted on a surface of 1 meter square by a force of 1 Newton acting normally on it. However, if thrust is measured in kgf, then it will be kgf per meter square. CGS unit, it is dyne per centimeter square. So, 1 Newton per meter square will be equal to 10 dyne per centimeter square. There are other units of pressure also. Like it is bar and millibar. So, 1 bar is equal to 10 to the power 5 Newton per meter square. 1 millibar is equal to 10 to the power minus 3 bar or 10 to the power 2 Newton per meter square. So, the atmospheric pressure is generally measured in terms of height of mercury column in the barometer. That will come later on. At normal temperature and pressure, the barometric height is 0.76 millimeter of Hg or 76 centimeter or 760 millimeter of mercury at sea level, which is taken as 1 atmosphere. Thus, atmospheric pressure is also expressed in 1 atmosphere. It is written as ATM. So, 1 atmosphere is equal to 0.76 meter of mercury, that is equal to 1.013 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal, or in general we write 10 to the power 5 Pascal, but actual value is 1.013 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. Sometimes we use a torr. Torr comes after the name of scientist Torricelli. We use torr as the unit of atmospheric pressure. So 1 torr is equal to 1 millimeter of mercury, or 1 atmosphere is equal to 760 torr. These are the unit values. Factors that affect the pressure, two factors. One is the thrust acting on the surface, and second is the area of the surface. Now here it is written, you see two bricks are placed here. Now whatever position the bricks are placed, the weight of the brick is not changing. So weight of the brick will remain same, that is thrust remain the same. But sorry, in this condition, the area in contact with the surface is 10 by 5. The downward area, red shaded, it is 10 by 5, that is 50 centimeters square. Whereas the area, if you are keeping the brick flat, then it is how much? Red shaded area is 10 by 20, that is 200. Definitely, same brick placed in two position, where one case area of contact is less, other case area of contact is more. So thrust remaining the same, if the area increases, what will happen? The pressure will be less, and here the pressure will be more. So suppose the brick has the weight of 4 kgf, then area of the base in the first situation 5 by 10, so it is 50 centimeters square. So pressure on the base is 4 by 50, 0.08 kgf per centimeter square. Whereas in second case, the weight remains same, so 4 kgf, and the area of the base is 10 into 200 centimeters square. So what will happen? The pressure will be 4 by 200, 0.02 kgf per centimeter square. So you can see in the first case, the pressure is more, and the second case pressure is less, because area of contact is more, here area of contact is less. The thrust is acting through greater area, and here the thrust is acting through lesser area. Thus the pressure on the ground in, okay. So ways of increasing pressure, how can you increase the pressure? For a given thrust, pressure on a surface can be increased by reducing the area on the surface on which it is acting. So for that reason only, the ends of the pins or nails are made pointed, so that you can exert large pressure by applying smaller effort or the thrust. The cutting tools are made very sharp. Again, the area is decreased, so that with smaller thrust you can cut things, larger pressure you can apply. Ways of decreasing pressure: for a given thrust, the pressure on a surface is reduced by increasing the area of the surface. Opposite part. And for that reason, the wide wooden sleepers are placed below the railway tracks. Rail is very heavy when it passes, and the rails can, due to the pressure, the rails can sink into the ground. For that reason, sleepers are provided, broad sleepers are provided, so that area can be increased and pressure on the ground can be decreased. Similarly, the foundations of the buildings are made wider. Now, anything that can flow is called a fluid. Okay. So fluid contained in a vessel exerts pressure at all points in the all direction. Like solids, liquids or fluids also exert pressure, but because the fluids also have weight. Now, to understand that yes, fluid exert pressure, we take a container in which there are two holes. If you put your fingers on these two holes from outside and place some water up to the brim, and then remove your fingers, then water will come out from these holes, and you will find that water comes out from the upper hole will travel a lesser distance than the water which is coming out from the lower hole. So that means the pressure of water is more at the bottom than at the top. We will see that it increases with the depth from the free surface. So if you consider the pressure exerted by a liquid column, and for that expression is H rho. This symbol is rho. It is like small p, but it is rho, and it is the symbol for density, H rho g. That is, pressure is equal to depth from the free surface, density of the liquid, and the acceleration due to gravity. Now, how to get this expression? For that, what we do, we take a container in which we take a liquid, and from the free surface of the liquid, suppose we have to find out the pressure at a depth h from the free surface. So at a depth at any point we consider an imaginary cylinder having area of cross section A. Mind that this cylinder doesn't exist, but we consider imaginary cylinder at a depth up to a depth h from the free surface made of same liquid. Okay. So suppose the area of cross section is A, and then the area of cross section is A, then the volume will be area of cross section into height of the cylinder, which in this case is depth from the free surface. So A into h. Then mass is volume into density. So it will be A into h into rho, because the density of the cylinder is the density of liquid. We are considering the cylinder to be made up of same liquid. So AH rho, and then the weight is m into g, mass into acceleration due to gravity. So in place of mass you are putting AH rho and then g. So AH rho g is the weight of the cylinder. Then what is the thrust? Thrust is the weight of the liquid column above the point where the pressure we are measuring. So it will be AH rho g. Thrust is AH rho g. Then pressure is thrust by area. So thrust is AH rho g, area is A, then AA cancel, it is H rho g. I am explaining you here that weight of the liquid column PQRS is equal to volume of the liquid column PQRS into density into g. Then volume of the liquid column is area of cross section of the base PQ into height into density into g. So area is A, the area is A, and the height is h, then density is rho and g. So AH rho g. This thrust is exerted on the surface PQ of area A. Therefore pressure is equal to thrust on surface by area of surface. So AH rho g by A is equal to H rho g. Since there is no atmospheric pressure above the free surface of the liquid, since there is atmospheric pressure above the free surface of the liquid, so to find the total pressure inside at a depth inside the liquid, it must also be taken into consideration. If the atmospheric pressure is PO, then the total pressure at a depth h from the free surface of the liquid will be PO plus H rho g. Now the factors which affect the pressure at a point in a liquid is from the expression itself you can find out it is H rho g. So H is the depth from the free surface, d is the rho is the density of the liquid, and acceleration due to gravity. However, the pressure inside the liquid does not depend upon the shape and size of the vessel in which the liquid is kept and the area of the surface at which it acts. So these two factors, the pressure does not depend. Now what are the laws of liquid pressure? The first law is that inside the liquid with increase of depth the pressure increases. Depth from the free surface the pressure increases. Then second point is in a stationary liquid the pressure is same at all points in a horizontal plane. Then pressure is same in all direction about a point inside the liquid. Pressure at some depth is different in different liquids. That means if the change of density takes place, then the pressure for the same depth of the liquid will be different, and a liquid seeks its own level. So these are the 5 laws of liquid pressure. Now some consequences of liquid pressure that is important. The first consequence is the pressure at a certain depth in sea water is more than the same depth in river water. This comes from the laws of liquid pressure number 4. That is, for different liquids the pressure at the same level will be different. Why? Because the densities are different. Sea water is having higher density than river water. So inside the sea at a particular depth the pressure will be more than at the same depth inside river. The wall of a dam is made thicker at the bottom. So why? Because with depth the pressure will increase. So at the bottom of the dam the pressure will be more, and if the foundation or at the bottom of the dam, if it is not made thicker, then that pressure may break the dam. So with depth the pressure increases. That's the reason. Similarly, water supply tank is placed at height. To supply water in a town, the tank store water for supply is made at a sufficient height. The reason is that the greater is the height of the tank, more will be the pressure of water in the taps of the house. Then divers suit. The sea divers need special protective suit. Why? Because of the enormous pressure inside the deep sea. The total pressure exerted on the diver's body is much more than its blood pressure, so it will try to squeeze the body of the diver. So to withstand that high pressure, he needs to wear a special protective suit made from glass, reinforced plastic and cast aluminum. The pressure inside the suit is maintained at 1 atmosphere. Now as the bubble, you have seen the bubble that is formed inside water and it rises up. At it rises up to the surface, its size grows. The reason is that when the bubble is at the bottom of the lake, the total pressure exerted on it is the sum of atmospheric pressure and the pressure due to water column. As the bubble rises, the depth from the free surface decreases, so the pressure, liquid pressure also decreases. Now in Boyle's law, you know that volume is inversely proportional to pressure. So as the pressure decreases, the volume increases. So the gas bubble grows in size. Now next part that we are going to study is the Pascal's law, which states that the pressure exerted anywhere in a confined liquid is transmitted equally in all directions, and undiminished in all directions. Equally and undiminished in all directions. I am saying again that Pascal's law states that the pressure exerted anywhere in a confined liquid is transmitted equally and undiminished in all directions throughout the liquid. So suppose in a confined liquid you apply the pressure, then it will be transmitted equally and without any loss in all directions. Pascal's law verification is there that you can take a flask which is having some side tubes, okay, and it is having a piston which can be pressed, and the flask contains water. So water level at all the side tubes will be at the same level, because water 6 is one level. We have discussed that. Then when you press the piston, then you see that jets of water come out from all the side tubes and all rise to the same level. That means same height. That is, the pressure is transmitted. Pressure exerted by the piston is transmitted equally and undiminished in all directions. That's why jets of water are rising to the same height, same maximum height. Based on Pascal's law, principle of hydraulic machine is formed. What is the principle of hydraulic machine? Any machine, as a simple concept, that we apply less force and we overcome large resistive force. So principle of hydraulic machine is also that a small force applied at a smaller piston is transmitted to produce a large force on a bigger piston. Here the Pascal's law is used. Transmitted, that is, pressure is transmitted. So a small force applied at a smaller piston is transmitted to produce a large force on a bigger piston. So for that we are taking the help of this diagram. Here there are two cylinders. So here there are two cylinders. You can mark it as P and here it is Q. Now definitely cylinder Q is a larger area of cross section than cylinder P. Both are connected with some piston and they are connected by a tube. Now both the cylinder contains some liquid, say water or air. Then there is a piston, and here on the piston P of cylinder P, its area of cross section is suppose A1, and cylinder Q having a piston which is having the area of cross section A2. Definitely A2 is greater than A1. Now if you apply some weight here, that is the thrust F1, then it will exert a pressure P1. Now this pressure, according to Pascal's law, will be transmitted through the liquid to the other cylinder Q, and the pressure P2 will be exerted. Due to this pressure P2, the piston here will go up with a thrust. So you can, when the piston go up, you can put some weight here. So with the piston, the weight will be raised. Okay. Now suppose that weight is F2. Then the force, the thrust exerted here is F1, due to which pressure exerted here is P1. This pressure is transmitted and it will act a pressure on the piston Q. So that pressure is suppose P2 on area A2, that will act, due to which the weight which we can lift with the piston is F2. Now definitely, as per Pascal's law, pressure is transmitted equally and undiminished in all directions. So P1 will be equal to P2, because same pressure will be exerted here. Now P1 is equal to F1 by A1 and P2 will be equal to F2 by A2. So F1 by A1 is equal to F2 by A2, or F2 by F1 is equal to A2 by A1. Now since A2 is greater than A1, F2 will be greater than F1. And in this ratio, if A2 is greater than A1, then F2 has to be greater than F1, because F2 by F1 is equal to A2 by A1. So you are applying a small, F1 is a smaller thrust and you are overcoming a larger thrust here. So it is acting as a machine and it is acting as a force multiplier. Now examples of hydraulic machines are there, that is hydraulic press, hydraulic jack and hydraulic brake. So all concepts same thing, that we apply a smaller force and overcome a large resistive force. The arrangement is given in the figure. So figure you can see that there are two cylinders. The cylinder is having cylinder P is having a piston A, and this piston is called the pump plunger. It is attached with a lever. The piston is this cylinder P is connected to a side tube which is called the connecting pipe part, and it is connected to the cylinder Q, and it is having a piston over it, and where the bells of bottoms are there, and as the name suggests, it's hydraulic press, so it will be used for pressing things, and there is a roof. So when this piston will rise up, bells of bottoms will also get raised and it will be pressed against the fixed roof. That is the entire story. Now there are two valves here. One has piston cylinder Q, that is cylinder Q is called, the piston at cylinder Q is called the press plunger or ram. So it is connected with a release valve. Then V2 will open only in the upward direction when the pressure is exerted from this side, in the direction I am showing here. From this side, when the pressure is applied, it will open up, so pressure will be transmitted. But when the pressure is in the downward direction, valve V2 will get closed and it will not be communicated to cylinder P. Then cylinder P also has a valve V1 at its end. That valve opens in the upward direction only, so liquid will rise up from it can be raised from the reservoir to the cylinder P. But when the pressure is exerted here in cylinder P, this valve gets closed, so the water doesn't drain to the water supply tank or the reservoir. Now when the lever handle is pushed, the piston is pressed downwards, so it applies pressure. This pressure is transmitted to the connecting pipe, or the valve V2 opens and the pressure is transmitted here. Due to this transmitted pressure, since the area of cross section of cylinder Q is more, the thrust will be more and it will go up, and the bells of bottom will be pressed, or if there are some linseed oil seeds etc., then oil can be extracted. Now the thing is that when this is pressed, it rises to particular height and you want to keep it there. So what will happen? You simply stop pressing this handle H, then the pressure will be more here. So the valve V2 will be closed and this pressure will not be transmitted. So the system will remain stagnant. Now when you have to lower it down, what you will do? You will open the release valve so that the liquid is transmitted to the reservoir and the pressure is decreased and it gets lower. So this is the part, this is the discussion of hydraulic press. Same thing happens with hydraulic jack and hydraulic brakes, which you can study by yourself with the same theory. There is nothing in the book, entire discussion is given, so you can do that. Then you do the exercise and the numericals, that is important. Thank you.